FaZe, they're looking pretty decently well as far as I'm concerned. They do drop down
They're at
to
135 points, right?
Yeah. They are at 135, but they've got 2 more games, and something tells me that they are going to move up. I mean, CT Gaming kind of been hit and miss. Movie Star Koi challenging Ahsoka, dropping the ball early on. I'm just not feeling it for FaZe Clan. I think they are going to be okay, even though it looks scary at the moment.
And of course, we had to keep our eyes on Movie Star. They got shut down. They tried to go after the Falcons. Don't do that with the remaining 2 drops, right?
No, definitely don't. You just need to try to put yourself in a spot to get a high placement with solid kills, and there is still obviously a window to crack right above that Gentlemate's position at 156. So yeah, you're looking for 20 points or so for both FaZe and Movie Star Koi. Definitely doable in the next 2 drops. I think it just comes down to the other teams between them and Gentlemates like CT Gaming.
Okay, Ellen, before we get into this next one, I wanted to ask you about buys. That's the one thing we don't really see from the Codcaster perspective. What are they purchasing? Everyone's using UAVs, right? But what else do you purchase as the game goes on and you rack up more money?
Well, especially for those late game moments, we heard, I think, a player call it out, streaks, right?
Yep.
End game moments, precisions, obviously cluster strikes, maybe a self-revive, because you never know in those late game moments how that can, maybe help you in a heal off, right? Which we saw Sage yesterday. So when it comes to buying, or of course your teammate, cash is king. As far as Falcons, right? They always have cash, and that's what some of these teams are trying to replicate.
Look out for bombs from the sky. We have 2 more games coming in live from the Kadia Arena as we send it back over to the casters.
Alrighty, well, a great breakdown of another great game from the Falcons, but I gotta say, that leaderboard looks scary for some of these teams. We still have a total of 5 teams that are done for the day inside the top 7s, but there were some shuffling around there. Twisted Minds have breached into the top 7. Good on them, a big map from them. The rest of this leaderboard still insanely tight with FaZe, just kind of getting into striking distance. Not done yet. They gotta do it again, probably 2 more times.
So what FaZe did there, Thieves did not, right? I mean, we've seen Thieves really have a miserable time there, barely getting a point to their name. And that puts them even further into the conversation. Yes, okay, they're sitting towards the top side of our remaining teams right now. We'll flick through that leaderboard as time does go on. There are only 2 games remaining to see who is going to manage to make it. Gentlemates, for me, are done. They will undoubtedly get surpassed. But you look at it in a circle, Team Vision, they will be counting on someone like Gamax, Fnatic, Leviathan to actually have a good game. They need some teams like that towards that bottom side to come out and have a stormer if they want a chance to stay in right now, because the points are only going in one direction, and that's the teams who are just outside the top 7.
Well, I gotta say, I mean, it must be an ego play. The Falcons want to be the top of all group stages. They still have to take down Virtus Pro with about 29 or so points combined in the next 2 games. Well within reach for that team that just dropped well over 30 points with that win. But because the Falcons are maybe playing for a group stage win, they are soaking up a lot of points that some of these other teams need. So I don't know if the slaying power from the Falcons is helping teams or hurting them, but we only have 2 more maps to find out here, Ton, and we are dropping into our penultimate map of the day.
Well, here we go. We're going to be starting to make another hefty circle over towards bioweapons, chemical engineering. It's cutting off headquarters, factory, living quarters, stronghold, and control about half of it. This is a heavy northeast map. Gentlemates would probably be screaming for something like this right now. Unfortunately for them, they've got to sit and watch to see if they could somehow survive. I just don't feel like it's going to happen. But we're into the game. Teams going to their regular spots for the most part. Big fights over prison, though, and that's going to be a nice one for a lot of teams to keep an eye out on. But for the side of Falcons, it's going to be a farm up, see what they can do to Stronghold. They'll start making the move shot.
Yeah, as we watch Rock Esports, see where they are on the leaderboard. They're in 8th currently, but only a point behind Gentlemates, who are done. So Rock Esports most likely making it inside the top 7, pinning the teams behind them. Watch out for some of those fights. Now, a big shift here, 100 Thieves. This is the story. 100 Thieves has been struggling. What do they do when they see an extremely northeastern zone? They drop Bio, completely shifting this map on its head, and said, fine, Imkoi, you've kind of chalked your own game. You've also chalked ours. We don't want to deal with the Falcons. We're playing opposite side of the map.
And the team they're going up against is a team who have been here for what feels like a majority of the day in Fnatic. They are a team who've struggled over the entirety, let's be honest, and they've struggled over towards bioweapons. It has not necessarily been a good playground for them, and now they have got a team like 100 Thieves to try and deal with. It is a tall order to see what Fnatic can do.
Yeah, the other shift, by the way, it happened last map as well. You were wondering probably where FaZe was landing. Chemical is wide open, so FaZe has landed at Chemical. They will likely be the first team that interacts with that Fnatic and 100 Thieves fight up in Bio if FaZe decides to leave. However, this zone won't necessarily pull to the submarine like it did last time we saw this one. It could pull to the Kim side. I bet they stay patient while we watch this fight here in prison.
There we go. Twisted Minds get themselves inside of prison pretty early. You can already see one player already drop back, making sure that this aggression isn't going to be, well, necessarily punished too much. But here we go. Padzuka, can he find much here? He's already found 2 kills to his name. But these will find the break. Fnatic Sanka sticking over towards the sub, and we'll keep things going here. But yeah, getting interested on not just Fnatic, but FaZe Clan, who have come to join the party.
I thought they for sure would be patient, but I guess when you look at the leaderboard, you know you can't be. You got to get active. 100 Thieves, a team ahead of you on the leaderboard.
Yeah.
You're sending 2 out, and they're right. There is no one over at Kim. They can keep their anchor over there. This is reminiscent of the Falcons' play style. Keep one slow, send the other 2 out. J-Tech picking up several, and now Blast on the run.
Blast alive momentarily. Should be pretty short here if he can continue to survive. Falls and wiped. Falls and wiped. Let's see, did anybody actually spawn up on the map for team number 8? I'm looking. I can't see a goddamn thing. 100 Thieves out. Another miserable game. They are in big trouble.
I thought it was such a good play to come up here, and I think it was. Fighting Fnatic, who are now getting wiped by FaZe. FaZe is flipping this map on its head. FaZe has gotten risky, and it is paying off. They flipped the coin, it landed heads, and now they're on top. This is unreal.
Those kills coming up against 100 Thieves are worth their weight in gold. That wipes an opposition out. Thieves are outside of the top 7, will still be outside of the top 7, and FaZe Clan can close that gap a significant amount. Fight starting to go on, of course, over towards the other side of the map. Living Quarters is going to start to get a little bit mixy here, actually. 30 seconds, the circle is closing. There are 3 or 4 different teams still outside the circle.
Again, northeastern zone. That means the Falcons get on the move very quickly. All 3 of the Falcons, by the way. This is the zone that they struggled with. The only map that the Falcons have struggled with. And they might struggle again, especially getting pinched here for Twisted Minds. Z-Smith's going to come down from on high. They're going to try to wipe this entire team if they can get a handle on them. Question is, have they found out where Shifty is deep inside the zone? Could he sneak in late and potentially play spoiler? I doubt it.
Shifty's the last one momentarily. Biffle will find himself coming back up. They did find Hisoka. Shifty now can get a little bit active. Can he find anything on the way out? Arm will be first to drop. Smith will be there for the trades. But the reach out comes through. You manage to get yourselves back up and running if you're Falcons. If only just by the hair on your chin. But look at what's going on over towards this side as well. Teams fighting all across the top of prison. Top of the prison now belongs to EVOS Esports.
EVOS getting a little mixy here in the last 3 games. They say, don't worry, you might see us in LCQs, but we're going to go out with a bang regardless of this leaderboard. By the way, off screen, what you missed, Rock Esports, also one of the teams that are out. Of course, they were in a pretty good position on the leaderboard, but dropping a map like this, 100 Thieves dropping a map like this, there is still a lot of breathing room going into this last map. This leaderboard is going to be wide open going into the final one, pending the way this one ends. So let's get into it. Falcons, again, regain Blender, however, still alive. This is the one zone that has caused them a bit of concern as Almond's trying to hold, potentially find out where Hisoka is and hold this team.
Another team you want to speak of how this is all played out with and how this is good for is got to be TM, especially if you're finding those gunfights of your Almond. You'll take your second of this map, no problem against Hisoka. But at this stage, yeah, for TM, they're a team who's sitting in that top 7. Teams just below them, dropping out like flies. I mean, what, we've lost 3 teams? 3 of them all in contention for that top 7.
Yeah, 5 Fears moved over to the harbor side, now holding Twisted Minds. The gunshots in the sky with a signal flare that they have an opportunity to play edge of zone. Unfortunately, it does look like the CT squad has lost only a couple plates overall, winning the fight over here in ammo. But again, CT within striking distance, with the 2 teams ahead of them down, CT can make a play for the top 7 right now rather than the last map, especially if they can sniff out the rest of these lurking players from Leviathan who drop here.
We'll be starting a little bit of trouble here. Actually, 1 player remaining will just about get out. So teams who are really on this bubble are not having a good time, but some teams that have to be a team like FaZe. They were way out of the conversation and are talking very loudly right now. They're well and truly being talked about throughout everybody else. When we get into segments, they will be in and amongst it if this game keeps playing out the way it has done.
Okay, off screen, take a look at this. Now on screen, J-Tech flank both sides of this team of 3 being chowed right now. Five Fears takes out the anchor. On the other side, it's Patzuka and Fnatic who have pushed out the remaining players of FaZe. Luckily, one player in the air floating. FaZe is not out of this map, but they are in a blender right now.
It's going to be a hard regen from where you are as well. A lot of teams in and around them. We'll keep an eye on how things are going there. 5 Fears, though, they were a team who surprised us towards the latter stages of yesterday. Okay, yeah, they're not really going to be anywhere near you would like to think. It takes something quite spectacular to get themselves up into that point where they can put themselves in that final day. But looking over towards the transition, we can see TM starting to make their way through Harbor. We're on board now with Falcons, who have had to stack together just a little bit. It has been a case of fighting with their backs up against the wall. And they've come out swinging. Not necessarily too many kills, but they are surviving.
Well, you ask Amex, maybe step up for some of our other teams to give some breathing room on the leaderboard. And so far, I think I just saw Teenix pick up 3. They're kind of in a blender as well, split, but we're finding kills together inside of prison. Sucra doing a lot of the same, but on screen, the Falcons lying in wait, playing this prison side. Now, if I'm the Falcons, I'm playing for a win. I want to prepare for the finals. I've already made it there. They want to continue to prove that they are the best team here, and they want to make sure that they can practice whenever they can of getting a win. But unfortunately, on the rotation, it looks like CT has another plan in mind, which is pick off Shifty and make their lives a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, Result was all on his own there over towards top water tower. His team are actually down towards the dock side of things and are trying to continue to survive as well, but they do catch Falcons off guard. Fights going on here still over towards bioweapons, and it still is the regular customers over towards this side of the map.
Yeah, the only new customer is going to be that Movistar Koi, who's come all the way up from control. We lost
Falcons
2
are going,
members.
Falcons are going.
They regained, and you're right, Falcons swinging all the way to bio. You see one remainder in Industrials while this fight's happening on your screen. A big fight for CT, because this is one of the teams on the bubble looking for a play. Pick up one who gets a buy, but Aizen, they cannot stabilize. That BKA squad is in trouble.
A lot of kills going down. Not many teams dropping. It's getting very mixy over towards Bio. You can see 2 teams actually making their way up from Chemical, but here we go. Inside of Bio, as Netox cannot find the second. Hisoka is there for the trade. Teammate alongside of him, but there are a couple of other teams who probably want to get into this mix. 5 Fears, not too far away, looking to try and hold over towards where Falcons are. Biffle finds Padzuka. Fnatic find themselves in a little bit of a bad situation. Clubs are going to have to drop in here for the side of FaZe. They need to continue to survive, and they've dropped straight into the Lion's Den. Falcons are very much here.
Biotin getting wiped almost off screen by Evos. They picked up several. J-Tech is on 8 kills, so the FaZe team does put up a decent amount of points this game, even if they don't even make top 10. You say top 10? Yeah, we still have 11 teams alive. This one playing a lot slower than the last. Shifty into the mix. They've taken over Bio. Clumsy trying to find an angle to get in. The door only open for a moment as several teams are in the area. Zakar goes down. The Falcons maintain control over Bio, and Fnatic is holding on for their dear life on top.
Yeah, FaZe are a team who are in the water trying to survive, and there actually seems to be a pistol fight going on. I believe that's VK actually getting in amongst it. We'll keep an eye on how that one's going to go, because if FaZe go out, this was a huge opportunity for them. But right now, Falcons are playing spoiler over towards Bio. We'll see you later, Fnatic. They have just gained control of that side of the map. But you can see in the top left corner that the zone is moving in a different direction. We'll cover that in a second. But the fight over Industries right now, currently belonging to the side of CT. They are in a prime spot to put themselves in this top 7.
I'm really impressed with this CT squad to be able to rotate out of prison, get pushed out, regain, get into Industrials, win the fight. They've pushed 5 Fears completely out, and now they have the entire building of Industries to themselves. Now you can see it in the mini-map. Most of that building is not going to be in the zone, and they're going to have to rotate out. Now, we do see Twisted Minds off screen. They pick up a kill on a squad that really hasn't threatened them, but those are big kills for Twisted Minds to make sure they maintain a top 7 position.
I mean, just seeing Falcons actually pull out of the fight somewhat. They didn't like it. The fight over towards Industries was not working out for them, but on screen right now is Center Zone instead of Chemical Engineering right now are Twisted Minds. They can put some serious gap, a serious amount of breathing room between them and the competition, still fighting for that top 7, and Almond is adding to the tally. Shots coming in. Squad number 9 has been wiped. We will see no more of 5 Fears in this game. We may well not see too much of the side of Leviathan if they keep getting picked up here by Almond and Co. But the fight now starting to make a move. That circle once again is starting to shrink towards Chemical Engineering. Falcons have got to try and make their push over towards that side. But currently they're holding over towards Industries, who are CT right now, trying to get themselves out, but they've got a few different teams staring their way.
CT once again not getting the zone pull that they would like. Gonna have to rat their way forward. Luckily with the full team of 3, they can try to play this. Unfortunately, it does look like the Falcons absolutely know where they are.
The Falcons are going to move themselves.
Oh yeah, the Falcons are just going to rotate out. They don't really care about wiping this squad. They're going to try to get to position. Reminder, the Falcons want to win this game. They want to prove that they're the best. And over in Chemical, we've got 3 teams stacked on top of each other with Twisted Minds. Virtus Pro out of this lobby means that Twisted Minds can breathe. They were breathing underwater before, but now it's just oxygen.
Wow.
Filling their lungs full. There are now 3 teams inside of Chemical and more joining them. CT take the bottom. Talk about a layer cake. We got as many layers as you can possibly think of.
And look at how Falcons have managed to find themselves on top of the roof. Nobody was in control of that whatsoever. Koi not on the roof, in the opposite direction. Laser's being taken down, but you're in the water of your movie star. Koi by name, Koi by nature. They're just trying to survive underwater right now as the rest of the team's getting it on in Chemical Engineering.
Twisted Minds versus FaZe, likely the next fight that we will see. I expect CT to play nice and slow, but look at the zone pull! Unfortunately, Robstar and Jawad, you got the zone pull, but it doesn't matter. You got a cluster strike right on your head. Like the analysts talk about, in the late game, these streaks are everything. Jawad, Robstar in deep trouble, and the question is who goes early? It's not going to be Shifty. Twisted Mind finds one.
Oh my god, Twisted Minds have fallen. No, 2 of them, 3 of them gone. Clumsy and Flank finding it, and who's finding it? It's FaZe. Time and time again when they need to. 3 teams remaining in Chemical Engineering, and now they need to start moving. 30 seconds of the zone closing. Netots will fall. We are down to 4 teams.
Down to 4 teams, and many of these teams need it. Many of these teams are on the bubble. Jawad and Robstar have been saved. They have the zone pull. They could potentially win this as well, but CT not going down without a fight. They might be last to the party, but it doesn't mean they won't be the last to leave. Here we go. Jawad inside of technical zone. We're able to play it, but no cover to work with. Double push. FaZe, CT almost seemingly working together, but Robstar wins it. Robstar cleans them. FaZe off the map. It's just Diaz Biffle by himself. And somehow, some way, Robstar last alive for his team, lying in wait for the final player to die in zone. King Matty, will you give up your life or will you take Robstar's? He will give it, and somehow, some way, Robstar and EVOS have won a map. Unreal.
Incredible. When you've seen them on the corner wall next to Harbor, and the cluster comes in, I'm thinking chalked. I didn't even consider that they would be in the equation, they would be in the conversation. They close out the game. But the real story for EVOS isn't really about them. The real story is about some of the teams who are fighting around that top 7 having a disastrous time. CT Gaming will close that gap further. FaZe Clan will close that gap further. Movistar also within that top 5. If you're Rock, if you're 100 Thieves, if you're Twisted Minds, you're looking down and it ain't pretty good.
Look, I will say one thing. EVOS, of course, not within striking distance of top 7, but absolutely should celebrate that win. Very well done. We're going to head to a very short break before the final map of the day.
One dropped, okay? One is down low on you. One is down low on you. There's kids in harbor already.
He's here on me, on the wall, on the wall. Nice. Solos.
One's in harbor, okay? One's in harbor. Harbor there, last guy behind you, last guy behind you. He's top on your right, on your right. Yeah, on your right, I think, on your right, bro, on your right.
No, I think behind you. Yeah, hit. Nice.
Good shit, Rob.
Come on. Joe, don't leave me hanging, please.
Pad, bro. Good shit, boys.
Take this off.
Hey, if you make your teammate do a 360, eventually your call out will be right. Well done, though, as we see Robstar winning that one for Evos. They didn't have a huge kill total, but it's going to help them build a little confidence as they enter the LCQ. The real eyes, though, are on the teams on the bubble. 100 Thieves, Rock, right there. We thought they were shoo-ins to make it into the top 7. They went out super early here, and that opened up things for teams like CT to go the distance.
That's right, and maybe even potentially FaZe as well. 100 Thieves getting eliminated early is tough. They came in as a titan of an organization, and now they look to be struggling a lot. CT, though, can they get the job done? Was it enough in this game alone? Honestly, it might have been, but for CT, proving all the doubters wrong.
It looked like all the kills were just flooding to them. They didn't need to move from the spot, Alan.
That's the beauty of playing in prison. Everyone just kind of comes through you, especially with these zones that are pulling closer and closer towards the water. So, yeah, really good stuff for them. And again, it's just the way that they're moving into the late game circle is also very successful in terms of kill count. The issue has been they haven't been in perfect fighting form when they get to the final circle with the last 3 or 4 teams. A couple of top 4 finishes, but still need to see them get over the finish line at some point.
So that was mid-game. I saw 8 kills on King Matty, 7 kills on his teammate. They get second place. That's a 1.4 multiplier. That's the game they needed at the right time if you're on the bubble. The question is, how did everyone else fare? Who are you watching during that drop?
I was honestly watching Movistar Koi. Also, Thieves, why did they switch up their landing? Because we're pointing out the fact that the zone, right? It seemed like the zone really threw a lot of these teams into straight chaos, and we saw Thieves land towards bio when they're usually towards control. But for Movistar Koi, we were watching them engage at prison with the Falcons, and, well, Nitods does what he does best, right? The regain, I think they brought it from like 12th again to 4th as we saw them in the final moments, Alan.
Yeah, I think there's a lack of confidence right now at the 100 Thieves. The last handful of games when they're playing in the B versus C matchup, they were getting bullied by Movistar Koi. They give up control. And then this drop, they go all the way up to the northeast side of the map, and it's just like a hodgepodge of FaZe, Fnatic, 100 Thieves, and they can't beat any of those guys either. So with all the confidence that they were sharing in their interview segments, we're not seeing it in the last 3 or 4 drops out of these guys.
No, we're not. It's 100 Thieves. They've got to step it up. For them to go to the LCQ would be a tremendous shock. You know, there are a lot of rosters that we can look at and say, okay, that makes sense. 100 Thieves would not make sense. But when you get aggressive like they do, sometimes it's a little bit too much. Reckless aggression is not what you want. You want to try and find a balance. And, well, finding a balance in this last game is going to be tough. But again, for 100 Thieves, they've got a target on their back and everybody's gunning for them.
I feel like that's just a bad dice roll. You got a 2 out of 20. Wasn't so fun. You're going to do better in your final drop, right, Alan? 100 Thieves and Nade Shot will be here on a final Sunday, correct? Saturday, I should say.
Well, I think the chance that making it to Saturday is still very high.
Right.
I think it's just we're dealing with today's games that they've dropped in, 14th, 13th, 9th, 14th. Like, what the hell?
They go out early. How about my guy Rock, though? Because we've got Wars trying to lead this squad deep every game. They went out around 12th, I believe, in this drop.
Yeah, and, you know, I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but I know Wars, he was just that player that was getting a lot of those, like, sniping picks, getting out early. But, I mean, for FaZe, they're the ones that really were kind of making all these teams kind of scatter a bit.
Yeah, it's another aggressive roster, right? So whenever they get hot, they start pushing up. Sometimes it can lead to their demise. For Rock, a team that I am fully confident can make it into the top 7. Of course, they're cutting it very, very close. But again, same narrative for 100 Thieves, like Chip was saying. Like, yeah, even if they do go into the LCQ, I think Rock is going to be one of the strongest teams out there alongside 100 Thieves and maybe who else is towards the upper echelon or bubble rosters.
Major shout out to our incredibly hardworking staff here at EWC. The admins have officially tallied the scores from our 8th drop. It's time to reveal our standings before the 9th and final drop here on day 2 in group stages. As you take a look, Virtus Pro still holding on to their first place, but only by 6 kills. Falcons nipping at their heels. Novo's going to feel confident. Twisted Minds at 175, not necessarily a shoo-in, but they're breathing a little bit easier. We look at this bubble, it is getting messy down there.
Well, I know Gentlemates may have brought the fan base out. Well, they're going to have to get even louder tomorrow as they move to the LCQ, dropping down to 10th place. For Inner Circle, they hold on tight to what they got, but it doesn't mean that they are guaranteed a top 7 finish. FaZe Clan, 100 Thieves, looking to knock them down a peg.
All right, so we need FaZe to get, what, an 11-point game?
Roughly, it's tough
to knock out Inner Circle. That's kind of the target I'm going for.
Yeah,
Inner Circle is done playing for the day. CT's still in your lobby.
And Rock, what, about 15 or so?
And 100 Thieves are very much in the mix here as well. You're looking at Rock. You're looking at Movie Star. I mean, I can't expect a 20-point game out of Koi, can I?
Well, they've done it before. Like, it's possible. There's a very real world. To keep in mind that, like, 100 Thieves and Koi land on each other.
Sure.
So there's a world where if they decide to go back to that double control drop, one of those two teams could be out of the running immediately, and that means that Thieves could be in the danger zone without question.
I'm going to say, honestly, my hot take, if it is a hot take at all, I'm saying FaZe. I think FaZe is going to be the team to go into top 7. I think 100 Thieves might be going to LCQ.
I think they both get in.
Really?
Actually, that is an option, too.
It is possible.
Actually, excuse me if we're not just counting one there.
No more predictions. It's time to party. Drop number 9. The final drop in groups begins now.
Thank you so much, Chris Puckett and our amazing desk. I will say predictions are our job. No, Ton? You want to give some predictions? What's going on?
Classically, they have not went too well. I believe we're filming a hot take segment tomorrow morning. I might have to just actually go something very easy. But other than that, something that isn't easy to decipher is how this is going to go down. There's like, in our minds, we're kind of saying we think there's about 2 spots here to fight over, and there's 5 teams who can actually fight for it. In a circle, from the outside looking in, just praying, CT, FaZe Clan, Thieves, Rock, Movie Star all have a nightmare, which, on the basis of what we've seen in the past few drops, isn't out the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I think it's a great shot. Like you mentioned, those 5-ish teams are playing for 2 spots. So when we talk about that moment, of course, I want to remind everybody at home that teams aren't going to be eliminated from the competition. Our top 7 are skipping LCQs and going straight to the finals on Saturday. The bottom 14 will play tomorrow in LCQs. So nobody's eliminated, but skipping LCQs, I don't think Dandro agrees, but I think it's a boon because you get to watch film, you get to rest. This is a lot of like high action reps. I mean, this is exhausting.